welcome to the podcast, The Scoop. I'm David.
And I'm Eric.
How you doing? So, welcome to the inaugural episode here. Both Eric and I are new at this thing, but I have actually previously released some podcasts in the past couple years or two, and I was independently doing my own thing. But I figured that it would be a lot easier to have a co-host and someone to, shoot stuff back and forth with. So Eric obliged, and it's nice to have another person involved here. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely, it's great to be here.
So just quickly here, the premise is going to be sports, athletics, local, national, regional, but we're going to incorporate other topics as well. Maybe not as consistently, but we're definitely going to talk about anything and everything here. Probably the only thing we won't touch on, and Eric, you can either agree with me on this or not, is probably going to be politics. That's going to be something we naturally avoid, right?
Yeah, but sometimes, you can't help it. It kind of sort of creeps in, but we'll make sure we keep a
limit
limit on it and very definitely limit it.
It will not be the highlight of most episodes. But like I said, we're going to focus a lot on sports, but a lot of subtopics that relate to sports and also topics that don't relate to sports. So that's kind of the premise here. And, we're both just kind of average guys looking to kind of experiment with this hobby here and see what comes of it. But yeah, so to kind of start us off here, I know, Eric, you had a topic that is not related to sports that you wanted to discuss.
Well, yeah, Dave. So, if you remember our history, we kind of tried to start a sports, podcast right before COVID.
Yep,
and,
we did.
And obviously when COVID hit, we couldn't watch sports, couldn't really go out, we couldn't really do anything. So,
nope, not at all.
Fortunately for, some of us, we kind of lost, some of us got unemployed, but some of us, kept our jobs. And with that, we were kind of sitting on a lot of money and nothing to spend it on. So
yep.
Naturally, my thought was, well, what a great time to start investing. Market had just dropped about 33% in early March. And I said, you know what?
It was not looking good.
It was not looking good, but I said to myself, this might be the best time to start investing. If you are a brave man, because that's the key thing is, when the market goes down, you have this fear that maybe things are worse to come, but you have to be able to stare into the eyes of risk,
right,
and jump into it. And for every day the last 4 months, they've been saying market's going to drop further, and it hasn't. And knock on wood. But nevertheless, it's a principle of life is, over time as you build your lifestyle, your wealth, part of that equation is investing.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's a lot of different approaches to how do you invest. Obviously you have your retirement accounts, and we can definitely talk about that at some point. People who don't want to really, do a lot of their own research, but want to, make some money that's not retirement, they can invest in mutual funds.
Sure, absolutely.
But as I said, with COVID, we had to stay home, couldn't really spend money, and I said, you know what? Why don't I just do this myself?
Right.
And people will probably say, what are you doing? This is your money. This is risky.
Yep.
There are people who are hired professionals to do it. Well, it turns out we're finding out that a lot of people are kind of doing this. They're kind of investing on their own. And the phrase is called retail investor, by the way, if you haven't heard that before. But it's basically a fancy way of saying I'm doing my own stuff because it's a lot cheaper than paying somebody else to do it.
Yep.
And so this has kind of been my new thing the last 4 months. Absent of sports. I've been trading ESPN for CNBC.
Okay.
And Yahoo Finance, and kind of looking at a lot of stocks. And there's a lot out there. There's a lot of things to look at, and it's a very I won't call it a hobby because it's more it is your money. It's really an investment, but it's definitely when you have the time in your hands to kind of look at these companies and figure out which ones you want to buy to yourself. And the key thing, and I'll say this, Dave, is about a year ago, because one of the things that discouraged people from investing on their own was that it used to be a lot of commissions by your broker.
Right.
You'd be like $7 a trade or something like that. And so, even then you were still getting money eaten away just by doing your own.
Right.
But then a lot of these brokerages, I don't know if you heard of Robinhood.
I have.
Yeah, and they do the fractional shares thing. But basically, these are companies that are now allowing the retail investor to do $0 commissions. Basically, just buy and sell on your own dime and not you pay a penny to the SEC when you sell a stock, and that's all that comes out of your wallet for doing it. But you can buy these stocks for free, and if you know what you're doing, you can actually, you'd be surprised how much money you can save by not using a mutual fund.
Let me chime in really quick.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, neither one of us claims to be experts, so let's throw that out there for starters. Also, neither one of us want to feel like we're pushing an opinion or pressuring anyone at any time, regardless of what topic it is.
Yeah.
A lot of what we're going to talk about are going to be our opinions, and we will make it very clear when things are fact or when we're trying to be factual. But a lot of this is going to be opinion. It's going to be subjective to the listener and to us. And so I just want to keep it light on that note too. So, and this is, again, by no means you pushing anything on them, Eric.
No,
right?
you're right, David. And, as we do more segments, I'll dive in a little bit more specifics. We'll get certain stocks, stocks to buy from, certain companies, some strategies that I like to implement. And, and I'll say these are my opinions. This is how I choose to invest, and that's part of being a retail investor too. Is that you get to you have the freedom to choose how you choose to invest, and it's a high risk, high reward, because if you don't know what you're doing, yes, you can lose money on your own without that opinion. But so far, again, knock on wood, I've been pretty successful.
Sure.
And so. For me, it's just kind of communicating what's worked for me so far, and hopefully I can give you guys some advice in terms of what could probably work from you. But yeah, you're right, Dave. We're not here to say this is how you're supposed to do it. We're not licensed to give that financial advice, and we do want to put that disclosure out there.
Yeah, I'm definitely not licensed.
Yeah.
But like I said, the majority of this is going to be lighthearted, fun. Occasionally we'll laugh and not be the stoic men you see before you today. We'll definitely generate a more upbeat, generic show for you guys, just so that it can be appealing and not feel like you're in a lecture hall.
Exactly.
But yeah, like I said, we're just getting started. This is going to be a little bit of a test, and we're gonna figure out the kinks kind of as we go. But yeah, so what else on the market stuff or stocks, or is that kind of what you're leaving it as?
Well, no, we can talk about some strategies, and there's a lot of ideas out there about first of all, when's the right time to buy a stock? And I say the right time to buy a stock is when you're ready to start investing. They'll obviously, you've heard the phrase buy low, sell high, and there's a lot more to that. But basically, I find that there's no wrong time,
of course,
to start investing.
Sure.
A lot of times what they recommend is when you first start to buy an index fund.
Right.
An index fund generally is a pool of different stocks, and it's so blended that you generally can keep up with the market. The S&P 500 is your kind of your benchmark in the stock market, and so they always recommend that your first $10,000 should go into an SPY fund. I did not do that. So maybe I'm crazy for not doing that, but I also got in at a very unique time too. So there's a lot to be said about that. One of the things about the stock market, and I always start with this, Dave, and I don't know if your money managers or your Warren Buffetts or whoever really dives into this philosophy too well, but I always say, you look past the fundamentals and the right time to buy, and I say, we'll start off with look at the industry.
Right.
Look at I'm not saying you're going to have a crystal ball in front of you and you can predict the future, but that's part of what you're trying to do, is you're trying to predict where these things are going to be in the future. So for example, if you're talking about the near future, I would not buy a Macy's stock right now. My opinion.
Why Macy's?
Because basically, there's a lot of gone in the retail world.
Trust me, man. Well, I was literally having this discussion with someone the other day. The idea that, sorry to cut you off too, it's that a lot of, especially with everything going on lately, we're being pushed to do even more online shopping than we have in the past. And oftentimes we've seen that has helped a lot of industries, but it's hurt the retail industry because it hurts the ability to try clothes on.
Exactly.
And a lot of times that's a turnoff, especially, this is not even to generalize here, but a lot of times women tend to want to try their clothes on when they're at the store before they actually purchase them.
Yeah.
And I don't. I typically don't, unless it's like something like a nice pair of clothing or a suit or like something formal. I typically don't. I'm in and I'm out, within minutes. But Macy's is a lot of.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of other stocks go out there too. Best Buy, Bed Bath and Beyond. But generally, the thing about the retail is this, Dave, and this is actually goes before COVID, was that you've already had a pretty big shift to e-commerce.
Yes.
Before COVID, and then COVID kind of doubled down on that, because now I don't say a dying industry, but an industry that was kind of really falling apart a little bit, got even pounded even more by saying you can't even operate in a box retail environment, that you have to be strictly online.
Yep.
And so, with that in mind, that's why I bought an Amazon stock.
You bought?
I bought Amazon stock. It's not cheap. It's definitely not cheap.
I know. I'm in Microsoft.
But Microsoft's not a bad one either. And we can talk about Microsoft at a later date for sure, because I do own some of that too, and that's a very fun one. But for this topic, I'll wrap up by saying, you have to understand, where things were, where they are now, where they're going, and I think that's a very critical part of your investing strategy.
Right.
So Amazon, yes, very safe stock. Microsoft, that's also very safe stock. We're not getting rid of Microsoft anytime soon, I don't think.
I don't envision that.
And they're starting to own a lot of things out there. So,
yes, they are.
But yeah, I'll kind of leave it up at that. And like I said, we'll talk about some more of these stocks next time. And hopefully you guys can, take what I say and find that a little helpful, even though it's not financial advice. And we'll kind of, wrap up from there.
Right. And before we kind of move on here to the next topic, that that was just a perfect example, though, of the side topics that we will discuss from time to time here. And so if anyone has any questions about anything or comments, whatever, feel free to reach out, or honestly, specifically reach out to Eric, since Eric's the one, at least for this topic, as far as, the stocks and stuff like that goes. He's going to be kind of more of the guru behind the scenes guy who does the research on it. And I'm going to learn more too as I go. And even just in that 5 minutes, I learned a ton. Just, and obviously I know the basics, but there's stuff that goes into it that I'm not as intuitive on. And so, thanks, Eric. I appreciate that. But the heart, the beat, the soul, the grit, the meat of this whole thing is going to be sports.
Absolutely.
And so with that being said, I'm gonna transition here to the idea of, well, not the idea, it actually happened. The upcoming season for football.
NFL, baby.
We're going to talk NFL, but before I get into the specific topic, I do want to not reiterate, I haven't said it yet, but I do want to let people know that right now, especially with COVID and with other logistic things, there's going to be a lot of especially the lower levels you go to, high school and stuff like that. I've already seen stories out of Virginia and states like New Mexico where high school football is already canceled for the academic fall, for the fall. And the NFL, because it's a business. It's doing or trying to do a lot of things so that they don't have to be one of those that are canceled. As things coming up with at the end of July, we've got training camp fastly approaching. It's July 15th, July 16th. Wow, July 16th, and we have guys who have already been training. We have guys who have already started to slowly report to their host cities. But the NFL is an intriguing one because specifically, I want to talk about a trade that happened, but in order to have that kind of have some substance, it makes sense to talk also about the NFL coming back as a whole, if it's going to come back.
Yeah.
And
well, I was going to ask that, Dave, because that's I haven't been following ESPN too much lately because there's been no sports to watch. But I know around this
Korean
time,
baseball.
I know training camp generally starts in July, and we're kind of in mid-July right now. How has COVID impacted the normal routine of training camp? Has it impacted it at all?
Well,
Or,
I can't speak specifically on
yeah.
training camp at the moment because I haven't read up on it. But what I do know is they've already canceled 2 of the preseason games.
They did. Okay. All right.
And I wouldn't be surprised. And I think there already might be an article out there stating the possibility of just canceling preseason altogether
Mm-hmm.
and making training camp / getting ready for the season and
Mhm.
prepared and everybody tested and all that good stuff, making sure that you have more time to do that. So that, because it gives you more of a reason to maybe have the season if you've taken more time to make sure things are safe and ready to go. So like I said, as far as training camps go, I'm going to have to look into if specifically what's being affected, but I know preseason has already been affected. And the games abroad have already been canceled. The games in London and have already been, to my knowledge, have been canceled.
But to your knowledge, the season itself is still intact.
They are still very, and I'll talk about this kind of next week as well. The idea of what precautions are being taken, but specifically, I do believe they're trying to everything in their power, man. They're trying to have this season, and all the other questions we can get into that more next week. But as far as it actually happening, they're trying, and I think it's gonna happen.
You made me want to ask a lot of questions right now.
What do you got? You got anything specific?
Well, yeah. I mean, you said so. Based on what you're saying, they're still expecting the season to start in September.
On time.
And I mean, so is the canceling the preseason is more of a precaution? They think that by September it's going to be safe enough to kind of pick up right there and start the season.
They're hoping.
Okay, and then I guess the monkey in the room here is the fans. Are fans going to be allowed to attend these events? Because I think we can be honest, folks, and not to divert here, but I do watch NASCAR. I'm actually one of those NASCAR fans from the Northeast, and NASCAR's been operating since I want to say early May, so they were only down about 7 weeks. But NASCAR's been happening without fans, and it's been great. It's been great to watch, sports content.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you feel like it's just missing something without the fans there.
Oh, for sure. The players have already stated that.
Yeah, and so we talking about hockey coming up, in August. We have baseball starting on July 25th. Football's coming up. What do we honestly expect from a quality perspective? I'm not saying the players aren't going to play to their fullest potential, but as someone who watches it on TV a lot, is it just going to feel just kind of off, you think, watching the NFL this year? Not having that same kind of...
100%.
Yeah.
Not even a question. Will I watch? Absolutely. I will. But that's a personal choice because of my reasons behind watching it to begin with. And I kind of crave the watching sports. And will it have a different feel? Will it feel, less genuine? Will it, all those other sidebars? Yeah, I probably will. And at times it might feel stale and boring, but, I can't say that without fans I won't watch.
Okay.
I mean, again, and I'm one person, there's I'm sure thousands of people that have said what I'm saying, and there's probably thousands that are saying absolutely not.
Okay.
And, there's so many different reasons for both, and everything is kind of subjective in that way too, because right now sports is not a topic, when we've realized kind of with a lot of the stuff that sports doesn't always come first.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things in life that are just more important, and there are, whether it be family related, job related, and hopefully, you guys get the gist there. But sports, for many people, have played an important role in, keeping them kind of afloat because they provide a distraction or, an alternate reality or something to kind of look forward to. And every week, it just provides a little bit of excitement. So if you've had a bad week, knowing you get to go and tailgate with friends and then watch a football game for 2 hours and, cheer on your team, and there's a lot it's so complex. It's not just like, oh, let's go watch a game. No, I'm not going to go watch because I feel like I might get sick.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
also, but see, like you said, that's another point. And I don't want to dive too much into the opinion of whether or not I think it's safe because there's so many people with medical degrees that can argue either.
Absolutely.
However, it is my opinion that there's ways to do it safely.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to get chewed out for saying that I think that they should go back because if it's not safe, they shouldn't. And again, I wholeheartedly mean that. If it's not safe, they should not be playing.
Exactly.
But I've seen too much evidence and people with a lot more knowledge than me saying that it's possible. So we'll see. We still got about a month and a half until football really would kick off.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, sports like hockey and baseball, they're right around the corner, a couple weeks away.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball's opening day is what, July
25th is going to be the Yankees Nationals.
Yeah.
The 7 o'clock game.
I know. Yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm a Yankee fan, by the way.
Too, right here.
So is Eric.
Yeah.
And obviously the evil umpire has many enemies.
Yeah.
But no, it'll be interesting to see these sports that start sooner because they're also going to potentially either pave the way for football or they're going to be like, oh, we need to take a step back.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to see pretty quickly, I think.
Okay.
Through trial and error. And I know that sounds selfish because people are like, there's going to be the people who are like, why even bother?
Mm-hmm.
We'll just wait till 2021, which is what it's looking like some college sports are looking to do.
Well, I was going to get into that, Dave, because, the college, we're already talking about how the Big East, I think it came out today, actually, at the Big East, they're going to cancel all non-conference games for all sports. So the big one, obviously, is football.
I heard football was exempt from that
because they're not big games.
They're independent.
You're right. I'm also a UConn alumni, so we do follow the Big East.
Not a UConn alumni, but I'm from Connecticut, so that's our pro team in many aspects.
But we've already had the spirit out in the Big East. I know the Ivy League's already canceled all their sports.
Pac-12, Big Ten.
Yeah.
What'd you just say?
Ivy League.
Ivy League canceled all fall sports.
They
canceled everything.
Football,
yep.
Yeah,
basketball, women's volleyball.
Yeah.
A lot of schools are cutting programs. Not so much the nitty gritty ones that make the school the money, but some of the smaller programs are the ones that they don't want to justify funding anymore, or they just yeah. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how what the actual final picture is here because there's still a lot of speculation. Mm-hmm. There's still a good month, and as we've seen with everything that's been going on lately, things are changing daily.
Exactly.
Not even weekly anymore. They're changing daily. So it'll be interesting, but I'm optimistic sports will get off without a hitch. They've been playing now in Europe and in parts of Asia, certain sports now for about a month. Don't quote me, but for about a month and a half. Korean baseball's been back since May, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously they're not playing with fans, and again, that's a whole nother dynamic. But I do think sports will return, and they're already planning to, and they're going to be on the TVs. Whether or not they pick up with the same steam they left off on, that's kind of the thing that we're getting into here. And I'm not sure. I think it's going to be a slow and steady pace. I think there will be the average sport fan will tune in, but whether or not they stay around because of the product, because of like you said, the lack of fan involvement, making it tough. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But I know that was a long intro into how we're going to talk about sports on this show. But again, with everything going on right now, we just wanted to be sensitive to kind of why things have been slow. And at the end of the day, both Eric and I mutually agree that, things need to happen at the right time for the right reasons and when they're ready. We're, like we just said earlier about the stock stuff, we're not experts. We don't claim to be. This is all going to be just mostly our opinion.
It's a talk show, Dave.
Is it?
Yeah.
But I feel like I have to make that announcement, sadly, in today's world, because there are so many people who may attempt to twist what we're talking about, and I just want to make it perfectly clear that that's not what we're about, and that we in no means want to harm anyone's
We're just two guys in a room just preaching. preaching. You don't have to take it. You can.
Oh no, you take it.
I mean, you take it, but you can
Take it in with the boys.
you can feel strongly for it or against it, but no offense taken if you disagree with us.
Because in the future, I'm not going to be this PSA about it. I'm not going to be.
It's our first show, Dave. We have to kind of put it out there, and we hope our followers, they kind of watch us the whole way through, and there'll be many more episodes to come, and we just they'll learn, how we choose to feel about certain things. I think they'll catch on.
We're here to give you the scoop.
Yeah.
The scoop. But anyway, so the I know specifically the topic I wanted to talk about today was the thing that was really hard to ignore in the NFL world, and that was the signing of Cam Newton to the New England Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
Something that me and you discussed months ago. And before the actual signing, I heard very mixed reviews.
Mm-hmm.
I heard people saying, "Oh, I would love it. I just, I wish, I hope we get healthy, Cam, and I hope that he kind of, stays focused on the goal, which is to win games."
Yeah. Well, Dave, here we are in mid-July, and the Super Bowl feels like it's so long ago now. I mean, it was only 4.5 months ago that we saw Patrick Mahomes come back.
Yeah.
And then you get to the off season, and there was just all this talk, and in our initial startup with our run with it, we had a big question about Tom Brady.
Yep.
And it became very evident very quickly that was going to be the off season story. But the thing we forget is that it's less to do with Tom Brady, and it's more to do about the New England Patriots. And, we have a lot of friends, obviously we're in New England, we have a lot of people we know who are big Patriots fans, die hard, maybe sometimes a little too die hard, if you know who I'm talking about. But it was so big because the Patriots dynasty, it's always the question of, is this the end of the dynasty?
Right.
And the answer is we don't know, because the dynasty has always been Brady and Belichick.
Yep.
And now for the first time, I think it became clear in March when Brady said he was going to opt out and be a free agent and go elsewhere. That's how you knew that this era, we'll call it an era, of Brady Belichick is done.
Yeah.
But does that mean the dynasty of New England's done? And the question became, okay, well, if Brady's going elsewhere, who's going to fill Brady's spot? And those are big shoes to fill, by the way.
No, absolutely.
And who's the guy that's on the team right now? Who was it? Brissett? I think was it Brissett that was going to be the slated starting quarterback? Dave?
No, Brissett's with the Colts.
It's called. Who was it? Oh, was it? Oh, man, why am I drawing a blank on this? It's because Tom Brady's been starting for the last 20 years. That's why I can't remember any of the backups. But I believe it was. What was it? Starts to.
Yeah, it was Jarrett Stidham.
That's right. So I'm a Giants fan, so forgive me. I don't know the Patriots lingo, but
and I'm a Jet fan.
Yeah,
sadly enough.
So you should know a little more than I do, but
I mean, I know enough about the guy. I mean, he was an Auburn kid.
Yeah.
But leave it to Belichick to find diamond in the rough type kids.
Yeah. Well, there was talk about Cam Newton going to the Bears. That was a big offseason topic. Was the preferred destination to go to Chicago, and obviously that didn't pan out. And it's interesting because. And again, Cam Newton is a great quarterback. I mean, he's one of the most athletic quarterbacks out there. He had some pretty good success in Carolina. Got the Super Bowl, didn't quite win it, but nevertheless, and then the injury thing. But the talent is there with Cam Newton.
Oh yeah.
But it's the mentality that I think gets in his way a little bit. And I don't want to use the word entitled or anything, but
no.
But if there's anything that the Patriots have taught us the last 20 years, is that team chemistry and team philosophy is crucial to success. And when you let personalities get the best of you in a locker room, you can see how easily that derails the team's success. And you get the feeling that's kind of what happened in Carolina was that,
Yeah.
Cam Newton kind of brought this team down because, for whatever reason, his mentality, took over and the team concept kind of got, a little decayed. And so it's going to be very interesting to see how someone with that kind of personality fits into Bill Belichick's, you want to call it military-like system, I guess. That's what I hear is that it's not fun up there.
It's very structured, that's for sure.
I'm just going to be very interested to see how.
But the guy wins, so I don't know.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like I'm not ready to call it end of a dynasty as much as a Jets fan doesn't want to admit it. You can't. You want to. You're waiting for that shoe to fall.
I was.
And say, okay, well Brady's gone. That means that the AFC East is wide open. Well, I guess it's technically more wide open, but it doesn't necessarily mean you put the Patriots at the bottom of the deck.
No.
They're going to be right there as long as Belichick's there. You're going to see what kind of magic he can pull with Cam Newton and take that talent that he has and translate it to on the field success.
Right.
And
do you think Cam gets the whole season, or do you think he has a tight leash in whether or not he
gets
pulled?
I think by signing him, you have to commit him to full season unless he really is bad or if he gets injured. That's the thing too, David. And we can't forget that is that the mobile quarterback, which is kind of this new style now in the NFL, definitely creates more excitement, more high-powered offense.
Sure.
But it makes quarterbacks targets. And even though the NFL's been trying to cut down on the hits to the head and, and protecting quarterbacks, it doesn't escape the fact that when you're a mobile quarterback and when you have a mobile kind of style,
yeah, for sure,
you are setting yourself up for injuries, whether it's usually like ankle injuries kind of thing, or sometimes the shoulder injuries. But you're a quarterback that's supposed to throw, and now you become a runner. They're gonna start treating you like a running back.
Yeah,
and running backs, they get beat up in this league.
Yes,
they don't
that's
last very.
That's why their shelf life is.
Frank Gore is the anomaly here.
I know.
For him to last as long as he did, big dude. But that's the concern for someone like Cam Newton is.
Yeah.
Can you revert back to more of a passing style with the occasional running game?
Right.
Obviously, I think Bill likes that. That's the injury thing to me is the biggest question mark for Cam Newton.
I mean, I think, without getting too much kind of into the specifics, he's a quarterback, as you just said, too, that, his success has been predicated on being injured or not, for the most part. Has he played through minor injuries and played okay? Yeah, he has. But when you look back on the season where he flourished, he was one of the healthiest he had ever been since college. And what year was that? Was that 20?
Let's go back to like
2016, 17, maybe even.
Oh, way before that.
Way before that.
Cam Newton.
Jeez, I'm old.
Yeah. You're talking about like the before the Iron Bowl 2013 game. This is like 2011, 2012. He's been in the league for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. People forget.
Right.
He's been in the league for about 8-9 years, I believe.
No,
I can double check, but
shit. No, you're right.
Yeah. Cam Newton. I mean, yeah, he's definitely been around a while.
Well, I know he's been around for a few years. Like, I mean, when I was down in North Carolina, he was on the team, and that was already a few years ago.
Well, he's 31 years old, so he's been in the league. Yeah, he won the Heisman in 2010, and then he was the first overall pick in the 2011 NFL draft. So yeah,
That's why am I saying 2017?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be his 10th season in the league.
And then what year did they go to the Super Bowl and play Denver?
I want to say 2015.
That was 2015.
2015, yeah.
Because that year he looked fine, right?
Well, like I said, I'm not saying his career's been injury prone, but he's definitely had several injuries. But yeah, when he was healthy, and particularly in some of his earlier years, he was a force to be reckoned with because. And again, you talk about the evolution of the running quarterback going from Michael Vick, moving onward. But I would say Cam Newton really kind of led this first, brand of big, tall, bulky running quarterback. Is what I would say.
Yeah.
He kind of set that style for other quarterbacks.
No, he's a hell of a player, but
Yeah.
I just, I worry about his, like like you just said, and now it just reiterated the idea of the longevity here because, especially with the idea of being a mobile quarterback, someone who's going to run the ball more so, and or there's going to be plays designed where he does run more. You have to find a way to protect him because he's 31, he's still young compared to Tom Brady
Yeah.
and some of the, and guys like that, but you know because of the injuries and because of just also the whether or not he wants to commit his full self, it's going to be interesting to see what Belichick can get out of him and what his effort level is going to be, and because if he plays to his potential, I'm still shaking in my boots as a Jet fan. I'm not ready to fall down just yet, like you said.
Like I said, it's wide open, and the Patriots, I'd still say they're probably right at the top in terms of winning that division. But yeah, it's definitely. I mean, even the Bills last year definitely, made it tight for them, even with Tom Brady. So there's definitely a lot of pressure all around the division.
Absolutely.
But, by no means does New England fall at the bottom of that deck.
Right.
But it should be fun to watch.
I agree. For sure, 100%. But so, like I said, that we're gonna as we go along here, the topics will get more and more specific based on the player, based on the team, based on the week. There will be specific news that we relay to everybody and to ourselves. And but this was just to kind of get the ground running and talking about a big sports topic that has been hard to ignore if you're a follower of the National Football League and or sports in particular. But I digress. So. Yeah, I mean, moving forward, I'm looking forward to talking sports, to talking, miscellaneous topics.
Absolutely.
And as far as today goes, did you have another topic in mind, or are we gonna wait for next week?
I don't know, Dave. What's your favorite beer?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I know this will probably get some laughs, but like my favorite beer, again, is another thing that it's so, and I know I'm already making it more complicated than it needs to be. But I'm a kind of guy who my favorite beer is based on the environment I'm in. Whether I be at a concert, just sit on my back deck, at the beach, or if I decide to go to a brewery where I know I have more options other than Coors Light and Bud Light.
Yeah.
But if I'm just trying to have a couple and just enjoy the time, and not really care about the taste. I'm a light beer guy, and I drink Bud Lights, Coors Lights, Sam Adams. Blue Moons are good. But if I'm really trying to enjoy a drink for its flavor, bitterness, hops, whatever it is, and I'm at a brewery typically, I've had some really good ones. And
have you been to Alvarium Brewery?
Where's that? Is that in
New Britain?
In New Britain?
Yep.
No,
So
I
they're
haven't.
not from Connecticut. New Britain's about 10 minutes outside of Hartford. And
It's where George Springer is from.
George Springer. Okay, there you go. That's the key reference right there. But one of the great things as of late, in probably the last 5 or so years, has been the upbringing of breweries. I think I found that there's so many breweries out there now that every state will say, well, we have the best breweries.
Yep.
And the problem is that every state has a lot of breweries. They're just popping out. It's like a new hobby, but it's also kind of a new career industry. And everybody kind of develops their own thing. There's so many different styles out there. There's the IPAs, there's the lagers, there's the German beers, the sour beers. You can go on and on. But I would say, I guess because my wife, she loves wine, and I drink wine, but I love beer.
Are you a white or red?
I'm a red. I choose red. I just I don't know. I just like the warmness of it. But
Warmness.
but when COVID started, it was interesting because they kind of closed down non-essential stores. But one of those essential stores that remained open was breweries. I'm sorry, not breweries, liquor stores.
Liquor stores.
And so, working from home all day, not much else to really do, can't really hang out with anybody. What do? I just start doubling down and just, drinking a lot more beer, which maybe for my health may not be the greatest, but it's a great opportunity just to kind of relax a little bit and try some new things out there. And you go to your local package store, and it's always something new to choose from. Or there's always a ton of variety. Just getting away from your standard domestics like Heineken, really starting to just migrate towards some of your more local kind of choices, and so that's why I brought up Alvarium. And I generally love their facility, but they actually have this beer, and I don't know if you like sushi at all, but
I do.
They have
I do like sushi.
they have a rice lager, a crunchy roll rice lager is their beer, and it's a very easy drink. It's very crisp. So like I said, some days you need that, you want that hoppiness, you want that robustness of an IPA, really just to sip on the flavor in that kind of day. And some days, like a hot day like today, you just want that nice, easy drinking, cold, ale or lager. And the Crunchy Roll Rice Lager, I recommend that one. It's easy drinking. We actually went to the brewery on Friday, last Friday.
That specific one?
That specific one, yeah. So the breweries are open now. I know the restaurants are kind of closed, but
because one of my favorite ones is Illicit. Manchester.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I went there a few times. Yep.
And I mean, it's not their beer, but I like to drink, Headway, and I think they're out of.
Well, there's Counterweight, which is down in Hamden. So we're naming all these breweries, and if you're not from Connecticut, you may not, these names may sound pretty foreign to you. But if you ever are in Connecticut, one of the things we do recommend is, we recommend two things. One is the Brewery Tour, the Connecticut Beer Trail, which is basically just going all the breweries in Connecticut. There's so many of them.
Yes, there are.
And if you do like wine, we do recommend the Connecticut Wine Trail. And my wife's a big wine enthusiast, and I think we're going to talk about potentially having her on at some point as a guest. I think she can definitely add a lot of sense to her passion for wine. How what kind of style she likes, how to taste it, things like that. But yeah, I just wanted to bring up beer and wine. I think we're gonna talk about this a lot more often. I definitely want to get into like some more specific brands of beer that I like. Not to violate any copyright issues, but I'll bring some maybe some local beers in, and we can definitely kind of talk about them a little bit, and styles and. Yeah, that's just my 2 cents on that. I don't know if you have anything else to add, Dave.
Based on that, no. But actually, what I will do is when you were kind of talking there, and I was half listening.
Yes.
I was looking up the menu at Illicit, because that is one of the places at the brewery in Manchester, Connecticut, where I've been frequenting more. And the beer that I've really taken a liking to there it's called the Carousel Incident, and it's an IPA, American blend, from them. It's from the Illicit Brewing Company, and it's I don't know. I'll keep it simple. I like the taste, and
I'll give it a try, Dave. I don't say no. The only beers I don't want to drink is sours. That's the only thing I'm kind of hands off. I'm not a sour guy.
See, that's the thing, and that's another thing. I know people who are like they're so for sour, or they will never drink. They will never touch that. So that's another thing. I mean, outside of doing the tour and just honestly visiting these places and trying out their specific beers, yeah, not too much on that end. I don't think from just purely because I'm preparing more for the sports segments. I haven't, and plus because just during this whole thing I haven't drank much, and two, up until recently, until they opened, I hadn't gone to a brewery. So like I'm reinventing myself to the scene again.
Yeah, so run off the sides here, Dave. You haven't been drinking at all. I've been drinking quite a ton. It's like every night I have to have at least one beer, or a glass of wine, or whiskey. I'm just not an alcoholic, people. I swear, I'm definitely not. I just long day. Sometimes you just want to put your feet back and kind of just just have a good time. Just have a glass of wine, can of beer, shot of whiskey. So yeah.
But so yeah, we'll kind of we'll wrap up there.
Mm-hmm.
But just to kind of, pitch the tent here of kind of what to look forward to in the future. Expect more or hopefully better quality audio once I replace my microphone that kind of
broke.
It literally broke before we started this endeavor of recording.
Mm-hmm.
So look for hopefully better audio and a better setup there. And also just to touch on the idea that Eric talked about bringing on his wife. On that note, I both independently and also with Eric plan to see guests come on to discuss either a topic of their choice or their profession, or whether it be someone related to sports. Expect to see some guests on once in a while, and specifically we'll note who's going to come on and what their expertise is and when to look forward to them, and that'll be on it'll be on the Facebook page, referenced. It's referenced as The Scoop. When I was doing rebranding, though, when I originally went off on my own to begin this kind of thing, I named it something else. So what I will do is also, once this video gets posted, there will be a link to that page there. And also I will post that Facebook link on my personal Instagram. And I also might just make an Instagram page for the actual podcast. So look forward to all that kind of stuff as we get going here. But this is the first, this is us testing things and, getting some.
Absolutely, Dave.
But
we're just here to talk. That's all.
I mean, I think we can do more than talk.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll scream. Hopefully we'll laugh. Hopefully we'll
maybe cry.
Maybe cry.
I don't know. Yeah, if the Giants keep losing, I might cry. So.
Yeah.
I'm sure the
Well,
Jets
now you know what it's like to be a Jet fan.
Yeah.
We don't win very much.
Yep.
Well, let this sink in, and before we kind of go here, last time the Jets were relevant, I gotta stop doing air quotes. The last time the Jets were relevant was back when Rex Ryan was the head coach.
Yes.
And Mark Sanchez was the quarterback.
That's like 10 years ago.
Let that sink in.
Before Cam Newton.
As my lovely co-host would like to point that out and shove that in my face. But anyway, so like I said, expect guests, expect weekly updates on the Facebook page, and there will be an Instagram page. And again, bear with us. Thanks for listening. We really hope to, entertain you guys, but also, we hope to educate you. And also, this is also my way of learning new things too, and staying up to date on everyday life and the sports that we all love. So again, everybody stay safe out there. Stay close with friends and family. Do the right thing here. We're all trying to get through this together. You got any closing thoughts?
No, I look forward to doing this every week. Talking The Scoop with you, and yeah.
So again, that's another thing, and I know, but
Dave, we gotta go.
I know. But no, really quickly. So this whole episode is just under 50 minutes. But what we're planning on doing is separating them out, so piece by piece, so that each week you can either pick and choose to listen to the whole thing, or you can listen to the shorter 10 to 12 minute segments of each topic. So again, that'll also be all over social media and stuff. So I guess without further ado, we'll see you guys next week. And I'm David.
And I'm Eric.
See you guys next time.
All right, take care.